This is a video on how to set up your mocap data to work with Artv1 and Unreal Engine 4. First, start off by importing the animation. I'll be using the hug animation I got from the motion library. After you bring it in, select the hip bone, File, Export Selection. Go to the Raw Mocap and override the same animation. Make sure you go to Animation, Bake, and you have the start and end frames dictated here. Then Export Selection. Okay. Once that is done, you're going to click File, make a new scene. Then you're going to File, Open Scene. Then you're going to go to Mocap, no keys. This is a file I set up with the mocap skeleton to basically all you have to do is file import, and after you've essentially overridden the mocap data with the new FBX, which was the previous step, we can import, and now it will correct itself and you can play the animation and it works. It just works. Alright. Now, typically it only works to a certain frame range. So you want to make sure you have those set up. So instead of frame 1 here, we'll do 2, 2, 4, 2. Now when we click play, it'll be the frames we need. Maybe even a little earlier. 2, 2, 5, 5. There, 2, 2, 40. 2, 2, 40. Okay. Select the root bone, File, Export Selection. Also, when you record the mocap, make sure Z is up in the mocap. Otherwise, the character might face the wrong way. If that doesn't work, then it might have to be Y up. That's something you'll have to experiment with. So you select the root joint, File, Export Selection. Go to the folder called Fixed Mocap. I'll be overriding my last animation. Give it a name. Do animation. Make sure you have your start and end frames set up. And export. What this will now do is export the mocap data in a skeleton that can be imported into Unreal that has a root bone. And the next step is going to Unreal. I go to File, Import, then the fixed mocap data. You're going to select the mocap proxy 01 skeleton, not the ALA proxy, the mocap proxy. Make sure the settings are the same as you see here. And then import. This might take a couple seconds, or it might take a couple minutes. After it's done, it will compress the animations, which might freeze up Unreal for a second. Don't freak out about it, just give it a sec. And now, it typically freezes up for a sec. It'll say compressing animations. You can view the animation on the proxy skeleton. So this is using the mocap skeleton, their bones. But we'll be moving this over, retargeting it to Ayla's mannequin, aka the Unreal Engine mannequin skeleton. You can do that by right-clicking on the animation, retarget, Anim asset, duplicate Anim asset, and retarget. Then you will select what skeleton you are giving this animation to, and it will show up on the right side. Now, what you can do, I recommend you give this the prefix of mcret for mocap retargeted. Then change the folder to character, Ayla, animations, retargeted. Okay. Then you will click retarget. What this will do is that it will convert the animation from the mocap skeleton to the Ayla skeleton. Now you give it a sec. It might freeze up. Once it's done, you have the animation retargeted to the Ayla skeleton. If you would like to change how far and close the arms are before they retarget, you can go to Ayla's Proxy folder and go to Retarget Manager, View Pose, Modify Pose. You can remove these bones to be a certain position, and then click Modify Pose, Use Current Pose. What this will do is that it will now use this information of this pose when it gets retargeted instead of doing a T-pose. For example, if the arms are too inside of her body, you can move her arms a little higher. And then when it gets retargeted, the arms won't be clipping into the body as much. And again, you can go to Modify Pose, Use Current Pose. This is an optional step. If the animation comes out fine, then no problem. Or you can modify the animation itself in Maya. Once you're done with that, if you want, you can just select this T-pose asset that I have set up, and it will bring it back to normal T-pose. And you can hide the pose if you want. Now, that was an optional step. Once you've retargeted your animation, so this one, what you'll be doing is you'll be exporting it out of the engine. Again, you go to right click, Asset Action, Export. And you'll be putting it in the Retargeted to Ayla folder. And call this mcret anim hug. Export. It has now exported. You can now go to Maya. Make a new scene just in case. Add character for animation, add and close. So now that Artv1 is open, you can go to Import Motion, select the folder, go to the Retargeted to Ayla folder, and select the animation we exported out of the engine. Select your import options. Do you want to import to IK and FK, foot roll, etc.? Select the part of the body you want it to import into, and then select Import. It will now solve the mocap and import it in for Ayla. You'll see the slider start running, and once this is done, it typically means the mocap has been properly imported. Ignore the weird skeleton placement. And now you have your animation inside of Artv4. You could, for example, create an animation layer out of the arm. So if I want to move this wrist, I can create an animation layer from the selected, and then have this animation layer from selected, and then have this wrist be more like this. Create a keyframe. Now the animation is being added to, modified. Clearly the arm goes into her face, but no problem. You could also do it with the spine or something, make it something goofy. Keyframe. Be like, yeah, what's up, brother? Right? And you just, yeah, alright? And then once you're done with this, you've modified it, you can do additive animation layers, or you've manually edited the keys inside the FK controls. You'll have access to, if you see, you click on the controls, the keys are imported in there. You can adjust these by hand or using the curve editor. You could also prune the amount of keys in here. But once you're done, you can export. Select the file. And instead of going to the assets folder, we'll be going to the exports folder, Ayla. Animations. Call this select the folder, open, call this Anim Ayla. Just call it Ayla Hug. Or you can call it Animela Hug, whatever's up to you. 30 frames per second. Sometimes Quaternion Slurp helps make the animation better, I've heard. And then export. Once this slider is done, it will export out as an FBX. There we go. Go back to Unreal, and now you can just go to Ayla's regular animation folder, click import, and only stuff that is in the exports folder should go in here. These are the final animations. Open. You'll get a indicator like this. This time you'll be selecting the proxy, right? The Ayla proxy, or whatever Ayla's skeleton is at the time. Import. And boom. You have the animation from mocap out to a fixed skeleton. From the fixed skeleton, it is then retargeted in engine to Ayla's skeleton. Then we export out that animation from the engine into Maya using Artv1. In Artv1, we modify the animation, and then we export the motion, and then we finally bring it into Unreal. That is the motion capture pipeline from the mocap room using Shogun, Vicon's Shogun, to Maya's plugin of Artv1, then to Unreal Engine 4.